Can you beat Digimon Story Time Stranger on hard mode with Dog Digimon? Here are the rules. I have to use dog, dog-like, wolf, or wolf-like Digimon. No items are allowed in battle other than one specific time. Rule number 3, I can only convert Digimon to load them as enhancements. This way we can only use skill attachments from the Digimon we are actually using, find out in the field, or buy in the stores. This will add a greater challenge to our playthrough. First question is, how many dog Digimon are in the game? At first it just seems we have Rush the Gabumon, Cerberus the Salamon, and Cavell the Gaomon, aka the most knightly dog in history, look it up. But we kind of got more. So there's Gazimon, this weasel looking thing is also a dog. So Gaomon, this definite dog, is a subspecies of Gazimon. What's the difference? They learned to curl their claws into fists and thus they became blue and lost their rabies. And that's the official description. Now Terriermon seems to be a bunny rabbit, and all of its evolutions seem that way. And its twin Digimon is a confirmed rabbit, but Terriermon is a dog. In fact, Terriermon is a terrier dog. Gargomon is a galgo dog, Rapidmon is a poodle, and Mega Gargomon, well, it has a dog face. But thank goodness we have Terrier the Terriermon. So the physical attacker Gabumon learns the magic attack Burst Flame 1, which is terrible on him, but oh so good on Terrier and Cerberus. Kawagamon doesn't even get 4 turns after Burst Flame Barrage. Raremon is burnt to a puddle. For Cyclomon, we switch out Burst Flame for Sonic Shot and we beat him down so much that the cutscene for Electromon to Digivolve into Agiomon happened when Cyclomon had almost a quarter of its HP left. And Greymon, usually a menace for rookie teams, stood no chance against the power of our puppies, with some help from our residential snake girl. By the way, we have a Kudomon named Beowulf, but that's definitely some sort of weasel or a ferret, so we shove him in the box until later. At Agent Rank 3, our super pups can be super dogs. Rush becomes Garurumon, Cerberus becomes Dobermon, Cavell becomes Galgamon, Fido becomes Sangaloopmon, Terrier becomes Gargamon. The problem with my champion level pups is that their stats suck. Everyone except for Cerberus has really low offensive stats. Agiomon has higher stats. Agiomon. So Paradmon absolutely decimates us on the first attempt. Our levels are too low, our attacks barely do any damage, and our mega level guest character only does resisted damage. Wait a second. I have been using character reversals away from my data Digimon to deal somewhat effective damage to virus bosses. In this fight, I have been using character reversal to help Fido do a bit more damage and resist Parrotmon's moves, but I never thought to use it on the virus mega level guest character Minervamon. And at first, I noticed it did a lot of damage, but I wasn't impressed until I saw the strike roll damage. We are back, baby. Paramon tried its best using a move I have never seen before, Harden, to power his defenses, but Marukimon comes in and this fight is over. A victory is a victory, but one can't help feeling something ominous in the fact that if we didn't have our guest characters, we would not have survived. So I guess we're gonna have to play smarter. Ultimate Brachiomon is our next wall, literally. It is so tanky that my dogs barely do any damage, but what good is a tank if it can't move? Agiomon clutches up with a stun beat low and paralyzes Ultimate Brachiomon, so this defensive wall becomes just a wall. The paralysis only lasts for 4 turns, but it's enough to get us ahead, and Terriermon the Gargamon's signature move, Dum Dum Uppercut, lowers Ultimate Brachiomon's attack stat, letting us outdamage and win the fight. But you know what's the opposite of really smart plays? Really dumb plays. Volcanismon's battle has multiple targets, his arms. My brilliant idea, use Galestorm 2, an AoE magic attack learned from Galgamon, and equipped it to my Digimon to attack all the arms at the same time. And this was my greatest mistake. Galestorm 2 costs 110 SP to use, and my dogs do not have a lot of SP. The idea was to hit everything to quicken the fight, and let me tell you, it was not worth it. By the time we defeat all the arms, Cavell, Cerberus, and Fenrir basically basically have 0 SB. And I was really betting on Fido, a character reversed Terrier, and a character reversed Agiamon to defeat Volcanismon in one cycle, but we utterly fail. Volcanismon still has half of his health left. I then proceed to click the attack button over and over and over again. Thankfully, we only needed to take out the 2 arms before we can get back to dealing damage to Volcanismon, and this time we're able to clutch up a win. Now that we have beaten Volcanismon, he gives us access to a lot of items, including the Human Spirit of Light and the Beast Spirit of Light, meaning it's time for Beowulf to join the party as Lobomon, which can mode change into Kendo Garurumon. But that's not it. Terrier becomes Rapidmon, which I swear this is a poodle. Fido becomes Astamon, a dog with a gun. Cavell becomes Mach Galgamon. Cerberus becomes Cerberusmon, which can mode change into Cerberusmon Wrath mode. And finally, Rush becomes Were-Garurumon. And we could digivolve Beowulf into Beowulfmon, but we do need Lobomon for just a little longer for a special reason. But will our team be enough to take on the next boss, Sharkmon?
You ready for the Golden Triangle?
Holy heck, thank goodness you're a poodle. Terrier's Golden Triangle is so disgustingly strong that we just stopped paying attention to the Divermon flunkies. Sharkmon was able to launch his super move because of them at one point, but this Jaws reject went down pretty easily to our Mecha Poodle. But the real challenge in any Digimon Time Stranger challenge run is Titamon. Titamon is a 2-stage fight with a broken special move, the ability to inflict injured, and getting a ton of buffs. Titamon is basically impossible and destroys me until I remember that I have a brain. There's a personality skill called First Aid, that when a Digimon uses a recovery move, it will heal the injured status as well, meaning we can freely heal our Digimon. We make Terrier learn it since its personality was the closest. I am Rapidmon, not Rapidmon. Don't get it twisted. What's the difference? What are these options? You're a dog. You are not beating the rabbit allegations. In the first stage of the fight, we use Rush's Wolfclaw and Cerberus's Infernal Divide to take chunks out of the boss, since at this stage the bosses have no elemental weaknesses and are just weak to vaccine types. And whenever Titamon does inflict the injured status on us, we use Terrier's aura to remove it and keep our team healthy. And Cerberus's personality skill, Fortifying Charge, though it does remove the injured status, it does let Cerberus give our team buffs with his aura. It doesn't take long for Skull Beluchimon to drop. The second stage is the real fight, and though it seems scary, we do have a secret weapon, Cavell the Data Digimon. Because Cavell is a data type, we have to use character reversal to make him not weak to Titamon, as Titamon so kindly show us the last time, but that will also make our dark moves 4 times as effective. It takes a while, but with each member of our team playing their part, the giant has finally fallen. Now this is huge. A second attempt win on Titamon is impressive, and I'm pretty sure that if I applied the First Aid skill and character reversal strat correctly the first time, I probably would have won. The next boss, Skull Seedramon, is an absolute tank. Like, do you see that damage? That's nothing. The only time we deal any real damage is during his charge stance, or with a reverse Cavell, who deals a bit more damage with their water moves. Our next boss is with the Sea Witch, Calamarimon. The fight starts off simple until she unleashes her special move, throwing pocket sand into our eyes. The lowered accuracy, of course, makes our attacks miss, but that's when things get worse. So we've been dealing super effective hits easily until she hits her charge stance, and then all of a sudden she becomes immune to all of my hits? What? I had to recheck the guide to make sure I was hitting her weaknesses, and the analyze feature told me that my moves should be at least hitting, but because of my inability to figure it out, my team ended up getting pummeled, and that was embarrassing. But then I had figured it out due to Neptumon switching from his Vortex Penetration move, wild name for a move by the way, to Frozen Bullets. Calamari's charge stance is immune to physical hits, but magic attacks can go through, which I was sorely lacking in. Now, the pocket sand was making it impossible to land anything, but the trio of Terrier, Neptunemon, and Venusmon are able to break through the guard, and my team was able to see just enough to land the final blow. With the Sea Witch put down, we move towards another witch, Witchmon. Witchmon loves spamming Idle Bubble, and we have no attachments to repel sleep. Lovely. But with the help of Bacchusmon, and the fact that we switched Terrier's personality skill to to Great Embrace, which lets us overheal, we were never in any danger. At one point, Witchmon used 3 powerful moves in a row, but we were so overhealed there was no visible change to our HP bar. We beat her and then we go squash a bug. Tyrant Kabuterimon stood 0 chance. It's a rinse and repeat of Acceleration Boost, Aqua Pressure by Rush and Cerberus, and Aura by Terrier if needed. Callusmon is another fight that's basically another rinse and repeat of Acceleration Boost, Blast Away with Walk in the Palm with Rush and Cerberus, and this time Terrier didn't even need to use Aura. Also, on our way to the next boss fight, we accidentally broke the game. There is this scene where 2 Digimon are being chased by Chimeramon once we hit a certain ramp, but I guess because I was running on top of Rush, the trigger for the cutscene was missed, so we get to run right through and past Chimeramon, which did stop the game from progressing, so we had to go back and trigger that. Anyway, back to the game, we go on to fight Venom Myotismon, who we beat so fast he's barely worth the 30 seconds that he is on the screen. But now it's time for an actual boss fight, Zombie Plutomon. Zombie Plutomon has a gimmick that, as long as his Underworld Mist is active, healing moves lower Digimon's max HP instead of healing them. And because of that, our tried and true strategy of rinse and repeat Acceleration Boost and Aura falls apart when Terrier can't heal the team. Another problem arises with his charge meter. He now has 4 of them and my team isn't fast enough to take them all out, leading to Zombie Plutomon getting off his super move. But thanks to Terrier getting off an Aura during the Zombie Plutomon's charge stance, the only time the mist isn't active, Rush and Terrier have enough health to survive the super move and take out the King of the Titans. With Zombie Plutomon restored back to normal Plutomon, we reach rank 7, giving us our megas. Rush turns into Meta Garurumon, Fido becomes Mirage Galgamon, Terrier becomes Mega Gargamon. For Fido, because Astamon doesn't digivolve into another dog Digimon, we're gonna take him off the team until he can hit a particular Mega Dog Digimon. See if you can figure out who's missing. And finally, Cerberus turns into Plutomon, who doesn't seem dog-like, but all of his previous evolutions have been dog Digimon, plus I can see some canine features with those hellhounds on his shoulders. And though it wasn't my original intention, in looking at Plutomon's stats, it turns out he is more magic-based than physical-based, so I digivolve him further into Zombie Plutomon, who is more focused on physical attacks. Anyway, our next fight is with Power Loader, who should be a breeze. Power Loader is not a breeze, but a menace. Between most of my Digimon being weak megas and his ability to endlessly paralyze my Digimon, I stood 0 chance. Until I remembered that I can use Multi-Wall and Paralysis Wall 2 to block paralysis. Now this didn't make the fight easier since again, really weak megas, plus he also uses Pocket Sand, which is annoying. I was really worried in the end. My last 2 Digimon were Rush and Terrier, and neither of them could revive the rest of the team, but Volcanismon really comes through as our damage dealer and delivers the finishing blow. I was not expecting Man in a Robot to be a tough fight for our megas, but hopefully some grinding will help us have an easier time with our next boss fight, Apollomon. Apollomon can be tough thanks to his ability to spam powerful moves, but we have a foolproof plan. Cerberus is normally a Digimon that frankly would be turned into a burn spot normally by Apollomon, but thanks to the attachment known bug, an equipment that makes the holder start in a reverse state, Cerberus becomes a tank against Apollomon now immune to his light attacks. And Rush, now a data type, deals massive damage with his freezing breath attack. And when our HP gets low, we can just switch out to Terrier, the Rapidmon armor. Yeah, before this fight, Beowulf learned Safety Guard, which we can use to create the Digi Egg of Miracles, which we can use to turn Terrier into the superior Poodle Digimon, and their healing power is off the charts. Also, because we finally got the skill we needed from Lobomon, Beowulf can finally digivolve to Beowulfmon and then to Magna Garurumon, who we get to show off a little bit at the end. Okay, we had an easier fight than expected, and Dynamon is even easier. Dynamon's whole shtick is sleep, but having learned from Witchmon, we load up on multi-wall and sleep walls, meaning that the most dangerous part about Dynamon is put to rest. She did surprise us with a last-minute attack reflect, and unfortunately, I still only have 1 magic user, but it only somewhat delayed her end. With Dynamon defeated, we take on Junomon. In this fight, not only do we have to deal with Junomon, but also the tempo lowering our stats. but with our cross art field we can boost our stats to nullify the effect, and though she gets one charge move off, we recover quickly and take down the Mad Oracle. Now that all the areas have been cleared, it's time for the final gauntlet. But before that, we finally complete our team. We Digivolve Cavell to Mirage Galgamon Burst mode. We de-Digivolve Rush back into Gabumon so we can Digivolve him into Gabumon Bond of Friendship, which is obtainable only by completing the friendship tree of the agent skills. And Fido, who has been sidelined until now, becomes Marukimon. And now it's time to begin the journey to the end. The battle of the 7 Demon Lords all have one thing in common: Virus Digimon weak to light attacks. Terrier's Holy Light does massive damage, Cerberus' Saint Knuckle does a good deal of damage, and Reverse Cavell does decent damage with Shadow Fang, and he resists all Demon Lord attacks. In our first fight, Barbermon doesn't stand a chance. He tries to avoid the end by character reversing himself, but now Cerberus' Hell Slicer and Cavell's Final Mirage Burst are super effective when we put an end to Barbermon. Also, I remember we have all the stat upgrades we have been stockpiling until now and load them all into my Digimon, so now everyone is buffed up. Creepymon's companions, Millenniummon, love to crystallize their opponents, but a couple of multi-wall and crystal walls keep our Digimon in their non-crystallized states, and it's an easy win. Oh, and surprise, surprise, Lilithmon's companion Cerberusmon also likes to crystallize their opponents. Well, we already have a way of dealing with them. Funnily enough, it takes a lot longer to take down the ultimate level Digimon than it did the mega level Digimon because we didn't have any effective moves against Cerberusmon. Good to note. Lucemon tries to be cute with physical reflect and character reversal, but Terry's magic attack deals huge damage, and we already know how to deal with character reversal strat. No gimmicks with Levi-mon, Beelzemon, or Belphamon, so these matches are straight up cinches. Barely have to mention them. With all the 7 Demon Lords defeated, it's time for the final battle of Chronomon. No weaknesses, a ton of buffs, and a seemingly infinite HP pool, Chronomon is definitely the ultimate challenge. This first stage is just around survival. Chronomon resists everything, so we barrage him with attacks from Rush and Cerberus. After the Royal Knights break Chronomon's barrier, we can turn up the damage using Rush, Cerberus, and Terrier. Rush unleashes Rattlestar, a high critical hit multi-hit move. Terrier's on support with X-Aura and blasting with Golden Triangle when not, and Cerberus would be great on offense, but Chronomon loves to lower the attack of Cerberus, so he's on guard bind duty. But honestly, it gets so bad that I switched over to Fido for his first showing. Fido has a skill, Spiritual Enchantment. What the heck is that? This attack lowers the foe's defense, making it a damaging guard bind. But then Chronomon's de-Digivolution attack came, and I thought my team was screwed. I had Terrier, Fido, and Rush out, and I had no idea how the evolutionary states would get messed up because Rush and Terrier are Mega Plus level Digimons that go straight from rookies, and Fido had its really weird evolution path, so I had no idea how it's going to end up. But it turned out being the best thing ever. So Fido obviously started out as a Fidomon. What the heck? Fido started off as a Gazimon, but for some reason, the game decided to choose the Garurumon path for its evolutionary state, which I guess makes sense by game standards because Garurumon, Weregarurumon, they both have the friendly base personality, and Marukimon also has the friendly base personality, so I guess the game decides what's the canon Digivolutionary line through that. But it's even better for Rush and Terrier. They go straight from rookies to their final forms. So we are dealing damage early on. After that lucky event, with SP running low, we switch out Rush for Beowulf and Hammerwave with special moves Machine Gun Destroyer and Starlight Velocity. Then we switch in Cavell to use his Final Moon Meteor Impact to land the final blow. And with that, we defeat Digimon Story Time Stranger on hard mode with only Dog Digimon. Let me know what you'd like to see next, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.